I think it's safe to say that Prometheus was one of the best looking stupid movies of 2012. Watching this film after seeing the trailer and hearing the premise was like watching a child prodigy stick a crayon up their nose and suffering brain damage. Nothing but a sad waste of potential. And we all fell for it. We all saw the trailer and thought it looked pretty good. Literally, I half expected David Attenborough to speak over those first few minutes of cinematography because it was all so beautiful. But then we saw the rest of the film. So where did it all go disastrously wrong? It's kind of shocking really just how badly they screwed up everything when all the ingredients were in place to make a really memorable film. It had the same director as Alien, it had this really awesome premise of discovering human origins, it had Charlize Theron with a flamethrower, it had Magneto. Yet all these elements only produced a bowl of shit disguised as chocolate ice cream, and we all paid money to eat it. Now, I'm not a particularly bright person. I'm not really that well educated either, and I make a living taking hot bits of metal off a conveyor belt in a factory. So whenever I stumble into a cinema and look at the pretty lights, I'm usually placated relatively easily. But when even I can see the glaring inconsistencies,
we've been here before if I failed. I don't know.
Had you
shitty
raised the money
characters
yourself, Mr. Holloway, we'd happily be pursuing your agenda.
and dumb story elements, then you bet your bottom dollar that your film has problems. Now, I don't really go to the movies that much these days because I'm as tight as a fish's ass with money, so when I do go, I don't like seeing the same film twice. Which same film? Well, Alien, of course. Prometheus and Alien. They're the same fucking film. Both films center around the human crew on a starship whose incorrect interpretation of an alien message brings them to a hostile and unpleasant world. While there, they contract an alien infection that kills members of the crew and unleashes an alien horror onto the galaxy that must be stopped before it can escape and cause more damage somewhere else. So I spend all this time putting together a review for something I hate? Well, I like to bitch and complain a lot, and it's either doing this or wasting another weekend of my sad and pathetic life doing nothing. But mostly I'd like to see the next film improve. We all know it's coming in 2016, it's already been confirmed. So my totally realistic expectation is that Ridley Scott will watch this and get me on the phone as quickly as possible and hire me as a writer immediately for a 6-figure salary. I'm waiting by the phone, Mr. Scott. The ball's in your court. So before we get started, I want to dispel a couple of common defenses this movie seems to have. A. The movie's marketing campaign and website contain information that explains what doesn't make sense in the film. What? We have to do fucking homework before seeing a movie now? No! Stop making excuses for lazy filmmaking. If I paid $20 to see a film in the cinema, then all the info to make sense of what I'm seeing should be in the damn film. B. People didn't like it just because there weren't enough chest bursters. This is a slower, more intellectual movie. Are you fucking serious? Prometheus is a thinking man's movie? Pig's ass! There's a difference between intriguingly ambiguous and just making shit up as you go. Having to fill in the gaps with your own explanations is doing the filmmakers' work for them. You're subsidizing their laziness and letting them off the hook, and you're paying them for the privilege. So, with that air cleared, let's start, shall we? Number 1. The characters. I have to really give this movie credit for trying to connect with audiences by having a cast of characters that are completely unlikable in every way. Not one of these assholes has any enduring qualities, and what's memorable about them,
but it's what I choose to believe,
only sticks in our brain because it pisses us off. You see, when writing a book or a movie, you can usually approach characters in one of two ways. They can either have some depth, some complexity, they could be relatable or a symbol for something. They can have entertaining personalities, or they could just be all-round engaging to watch on screen. You can build entire movies around characters just bouncing off of each other if their personalities are rich enough.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just like, your opinion, man.
They don't have to be likable as long as they're engaging.
If you hold back anything, I'll kill you. If you bend the truth, or I think you're bending the truth, I'll kill you. If you forget anything, I'll kill you. In fact, you're gonna have to work very hard to stay alive, Nick. Now, do you understand everything I've said? Because if you don't, I'll kill you.
Another way is to keep the characters simple, efficient, and just use them as a device to tell the spectacle of the story. This is particularly prevalent in the found footage genre. Another example would be horror films, where some characters have just enough traits to make them likable, but the ultimate draw of the film is the monster and the gore. Now, not all narratives have to be done in this way, of course, but they're two pretty common approaches of getting the job done. So how does Prometheus utilize its characters? It seems fitting to bring back the earlier analogy of a brain-damaged child. The characters could have fit the narrative really well if they had a bit of substance, or if, the film even had a coherent and well thought out narrative to begin with. But alas, it was not to be. None of these characters show any human emotion outside of arrogance and stupidity. The main protagonist, Shaw, is inevitably going to be compared with Ellen Ripley and will fail on every account to live up to her example. Now, I don't think this is a fair comparison to make because it's entirely reasonable to have different characters for different movies. But while Ripley was a blue-collar working woman who felt like a big sister in space, Shaw is just a pig-headed zealot. Even by the end of the film, and after having her beliefs torn apart, she still sprouts the same groan-inducing mantra that got her into this mess in the first place.
I don't understand.
Well, I guess that's because I'm a human being. And you're a robot. But it's what I choose to believe.
She doesn't change. She's supposed to be a scientist, yet she shows no emotion over just making historic discoveries.
DNA. Match.
Oh yeah, I've got evidence that shows human beings originate in aliens from another planet. No worries, mate. Any scientists I know would be getting wasted quicker than Rick James if they could attach their name to this kind of achievement. But when Holloway enters her room after just the first day, she's sitting on a couch droning away as if she's talking about her fucking taxes or something. If I was Shaw, then Holloway would have gotten high in the corridor from the mists of cocaine leaking out of my room because I've been snorting buckets of the stuff off the gigolos that I smuggled on board. I mean, Jesus Christ, you've made human history. What compounds the shit pies that this character could have been really interesting. Do you hear that phrase again? Could have been? Yeah, it pretty much goes without saying in this movie by now. We learn that Shaw is in fact sterile, or she was neutered or something. I don't know. Look, the point is that she can't make screaming little humans.
I can't create life.
This could have been a really compelling motivation for her. She could be in awe of these engineers and their ability to create life. Shaw could have been a woman who was really driven by both her own confidence in her work and her desire to leave a legacy to humanity. She can't have children on her own, so in the absence of passing on her genes, she strives to be remembered for something. Upon seeing the engineer's mastery of genetic manipulation, she could be in awe of the whole process, maybe even get jealous of their effortless ability to create and manipulate life. Maybe she even joins this guy in seeing if they can help her. But instead, she just mentions this one line and it's never brought up again.
I can't create life.
Do you see? Do you see why this movie is such a waste of potential? Take Miss Vickers, for example. As it stands, she's a one-dimensional, cold, corporate asshole that's cynical about everything.
I think there might be some confusion about our relationship.
Thinks ancient people are all savages and is about as huggable as a fucking rattlesnake.
But I'm fairly certain your engineers are nothing but scribblings of savages living in dirty little caves.
Shows no change in the discovery that humans, at one point, were not alone in this universe and that these aliens influenced human history. Nothing. However, we learn that Mr. Wayland is her father. She's waiting for.
A king has his reign, and then he dies. It's inevitable.
So that she could inherit his empire. We've already seen that the engineers were in the planet-changing business. They altered atmospheres and seeded life onto planets. We also see that Wayland Corporation does the same thing. They terraform planets, and I assume they're into genetic manipulation.
Wayland Corporation. Building better worlds.
This whole character could have represented humanity itself. The former kings, they've passed. Their reign has ended, and now a new species is rising to prominence. One that could do all the last species could do, except at a much quicker pace. But instead, she just mentions this one line and it's never brought up again.
Father.
Are you noticing a pattern here? This is a movie whose title is derived from the Greek Titan that helped bring technology to humanity in defiance of his fellow Titans, who were worried that humans would overtake them. Its narrative features humanity meeting their makers, who are aliens that had mastered genetic engineering and who at one point tried to kill them. This movie should have written itself. The characters could have been so much more and complemented the narrative so beautifully. Instead, they're just cretins that go about their day as if nothing has happened. As if that wasn't bad enough, the characters are completely underused. They also show no recognition of the situation they're in, and as a result, they all feel so lifeless. If they don't care, then why should we care? Instead of being overjoyed at this history-breaking discoveries on just the first day, this mopey, whiny asshole is getting drunk and complaining. Oh yeah, you're a young, handsome, wealthy white man with a smoking hot Swedish girlfriend, a PhD.
Doctors Holloway and Shaw, if you would please stand.
And you just changed human history forever.
The most significant discovery in the history of mankind.
Life must be so hard. Boo-hoo-hoo.
Dr. Chopper prescribes you harden the fuck up.
Hey, do you remember in Alien when they were all shocked and aghast at coming into contact with alien life forms?
Jesus Christ. What is that, man?
Hey, how the hell's he breathing?
They're all astonished and frightened. They're unsure of how to handle the situation, throwing out their own suggestions on how to deal with it. It freaks the crew out.
And why don't you guys freeze him? How come they don't freeze him? What's going on, man?
What the fuck is going on here?
And this was just some creepy fucking crab. It wasn't a pile of corpses and a decapitated alien head. But with the crew of Prometheus, the captain looks bored the entire time he's on the ship, as if he'd rather be at home watching Judge Judy.
Okay, what do you mean a life form?
Is it moving?
No, I don't think so.
Before he suddenly, out of nowhere, becomes all noble and self-sacrificing. The biologist of all fucking people is totally okay with creepy alien snake vaginas, yet loses his shit over a pile of corpses. In fact, the movie even goes out of its way to show how skeptical the crew is about this whole adventure, and rightly so.
So you're saying we're here because of a map you two kids found in a cave, is that right?
But when the proof is in the pudding, so to speak, no one cares. They all go about their day as if nothing has happened. None of them show any type of self-reflection or questioning of their previous beliefs. Nothing. We don't even get a 5-second scene of them all having a booze up over success on the first day. But David was such a good character. Really? Why? If by good you mean he had no motives and made stupid decisions, then sure. In this movie he's the real fucking Charles Foster Kane. They even play with the idea that David cannot feel disappointment at the apathy of his own makers and compare this with the hope that humans have of meeting theirs.
Why do you think your people made me?
We made you because we could.
Of course they go nowhere with this, noticing a pattern, and there's the whole villainous asshole that conducts human experimentation. That I'll get into later. But for all intents and purposes in the film, it's true. He doesn't feel disappointment. He doesn't really seem to feel anything. I mean, there's the occasional hint at something, like when he likes a movie.
Just something from a film I like.
Or when he decides to manually learn a language rather than just have it downloaded into his brain. But these are just scraps left on the floor rather than the build-up to something greater that they could have been. In fact, every time we think we get a glimpse into his personality, it's just a sentence or two, nothing more. Every action he takes is to facilitate the command of his owners.
He said, try harder.
Even his solo exploration. The film really needed a scene where we see David do something outside of his instructions. Something like seeing him test this chocolate sauce on some tissue samples in the lab, where he watches in amazement as it alters and grows. We could see him develop a new respect for the potential of biological systems, or somehow suggest that he sees a reflection of his own capacity for change, to move beyond his programming and become something he wants to be. This would have given him a bit of substance and show how this adventure has changed him. But instead, he just operates on the instructions given to him and just acts like a creepy robot that can't be disappointed, frightened, concerned, or even happy. Yeah, real great character.
Doesn't everyone want their parents dead?
Now, all of this is in stark contrast to the first Alien film. In that film, the crew are shown to be a bunch of everymen and women. Every people, I suppose. One is a little greedy.
It's not my contract to do this kind of duty. And what about the money? If you want to give me some money to do, I'd be happy to, you know.
One's a bit dopey.
Still with us, Brett? Anything so bad, man.
Right.
Yeah.
One's a bit of a coward. One's a bit cold and aloof, even if he does turn out to be a crazy robot. But over the course of the film, as they get exposed to the potentially terrifying, horrible stuff lurking in the unknown and in their own creations, their vulnerability and fear exposes their humanity. The audience warms up to them and wants to see them make it through. When each person dies, it's a big event, and as the human presence shrinks in the movie, the environment and narrative becomes more frantic and oppressive. It really helps build the atmosphere of the whole film. But in Prometheus? Whatever. No one cares when this guy gets stabbed. The geologist looks like a fucking serial killer, openly announces himself as an unlikable asshole from the start, and he doesn't really change. He still remains a weirdo.
Sir, I've been asleep 2 years. I ain't here to be your friend. I'm here to make money.
Who the hell is this guy? Oh, well, she's friendly, I suppose. I hope she lives in... Ah, okay. Number 2, the story. So the characters in your movies suck. Or they're flat and non-existent. That's okay. All is not lost. A movie with crappy characterization can still be saved by having a good story. Oh no. So, much like the characters, there's a couple of ways you can approach a movie's plot. Literally and symbolically. How you interpret a film could be dramatically different based upon which of these ways you approach it. To get what I'm saying, take a look at the film Cabin in the Woods that came out in 2012. If you take the film literally, at face value, it's actually pretty depressing and almost misanthropic. But if you take it as a symbol or a metaphor for the horror movie industry and its audience, then it's actually very clever and much more enjoyable. Now, this isn't always the case, and I'm the last person to ask when it comes to spotting little moments of symbolism or references. But when you're making a movie about people being on a mission to meet our creators, and do so in connection with the Prometheus tale within Greek mythology, then you bet your ass that your movie is going to be speaking on multiple levels, literally and symbolically. They even openly say this in the film itself.
The Titan, Prometheus, wanted to give mankind equal footing with the gods. For that, he was cast from Olympus. Well, my friends, the time has finally come for his return.
It's a big task to take on, particularly when balancing characters, setting, action, and horror. Do they pull it off? Nope. So there are two main problems with the plot that really derail this whole movie. The first is stupidity. Nothing would happen in this movie if stupid characters didn't make stupid decisions. So the center of this whole film is a group of scientists getting funding from a guy who stood too long in front of an open oven to travel to another planet in the hope of meeting the alien creators of humanity. The evidence they present to this old man to acquire his funding was a map and... that's it. There is literally no other evidence that they present to this old man. So it's pretty understandable that he'd fund their mission and risk his life by coming along himself. Being the head of a massive evil corporation means he's used to making reckless decisions based upon very little evidence. I'm sure the market is very forgiving of that type of behaviour. But anyway, along the way the crew makes stupid decisions that are only really there to keep the plot moving. Hey, sure! Take off your helmet in an alien environment and expose it to the pathogens and bacteria on your skin. That won't have any consequences. After all, he's just a scientist exploring a new world. We can't expect him to know about these things. And of course, everyone else just stands around with a stupid fucking grin on their face. If that had been me, I'd have tackled him to the ground.
Open the fucking door. Open the fucking door!
Or at least I'd try to. I lack upper body strength to do much aside from lift Coke cans to my lips, so I probably wouldn't have gotten far. Hey, and let's not forget about the alien head. Let's stick a Wait, what? You didn't even have a quarantine before opening it up? What? Jesus, tap dancing fucking Christ, you're opening an alien helmet while wearing nothing for protection but a piece of linen over your fucking face? God damn it, these people are fucking stupid. Hey, in fact, you know what? Let's just play a game. Are you as stupid as this guy? Round 1. You're the captain of a starship with crew exploring an alien environment. They have mapped out where they're exploring, so you have a 3-dimensional map right in front of you. And, oh, look at that. 2 of your crew have called in saying that they're lost. Furthermore, they're freaked out because they've just encountered a pile of alien corpses. And you've just seen a glitch in your system suggesting that there's an alien life form nearby. What do you do? A. Use the holographic map to guide the 2 crew members to a safe location near the exit so that they can get picked up when it's safe to do so. B. Shrug, sarcastically wish them all the best, then go and flirt with your boss, which takes you away from the communications so that you're absent when they get attacked by a creepy alien snake vagina.
Am I supposed to know who that is? My room. 10 minutes.
With the one you love. Love the one you with. Love the one you with.
If you answered B, then hooray for you. You're as stupid as this guy. Your prize will be a zombie scene in an Aliens film. I'm serious. In the Alien franchise, there is now a precedent for chocolate-powered super zombies. Because Lord knows there's not enough of them in the market right now. Round 2. You're lost inside an alien labyrinth that you've been exploring. You've been freaked out when you saw a pile of alien corpses and your boss just said there was an alien life form nearby, but it's not there anymore. It was probably just a computer glitch, so it should be all good. Strangely, your boss isn't responding. What do you do? A. Use the fucking navigation system on your arm.
What is your position?
Prometheus, this is Milburn. We are at 7401477. Why?
To guide you somewhere enclosed and deserted where you can sleep for a few hours before the storm passes. Then you can make a dash back to the ship. Or B. Choose this fucking place to go to sleep in. Yeah, it looks really reassuring with some monolithic, creepy alien bobblehead in the center of a weird diorama room while being filled with eerie-looking canisters. Then when a creepy alien snake vagina comes along, instead of running away, you think it's awesome and try to touch it. If you chose B, then congrats. You're as stupid as these 2 guys. You get to die horribly. By the way, the biologist that got face raped by the alien snake vagina, was it laying eggs in him? What becomes of that? Oh, that's right. We're never shown. Noticing a pattern. But again, this is an example of stupid decisions moving the plot forward. If these 2 pinheads had not gotten lost and had not acted stupidly, there'd be no chocolate-powered super zombie to attack the crew. This guy would not have determined that this place is for making weapons, and so when the alien ship took off at the end, he would not have felt the need to sacrifice himself to stop it. Do you see? Do you see how this plot relies upon stupid? But wait, there's a round 3. You've just stupidly exposed yourself to an alien environment, and the next morning you see a little alien worm in your eye. What do you do? A. Run to the infirmary, grab the doctor by the shoulders, and yell, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, there's an alien snake in my eye." B. Do nothing. It's fine, really. You can probably sleep it off. Do I even have to say what happens at this point? You know he doesn't do anything because he doesn't have access to the single crew brain cell for the day. He gets infected, he puts everyone at risk a second damn time and then gets set on fire. I think we're even supposed to feel sorry for this fiery asshole, but by this point in the movie I was just glad it was almost over. Even the character that everyone seems to like, David, is a shifty, villainous asshole who conducts murderous human experimentation. Oh, did you forget about that part by the end of the film? Yeah, it seems when Dr. Joseph Mengele here isn't mind-raping the crew, he's running short of lab rats, so he decides to infect this guy with alien DNA, just to see what happens. How did he know the alien DNA wouldn't just break down in the alcohol of the drink, or in the guy's stomach acids? And even if it had some effect, what if it had turned him into some zombie monster like everything else and caused him to kill the rest of the crew, including Mr. Wayland? You know, his top priority.
Of course, sir.
This bizarre human experimentation makes no sense, but I know why it's here. So Shaw can give birth to Squid Baby, which then face rapes the engineer, which then gives birth to the alien xenomorph. Soon to be concluded in part 2.